Hello and welcome to another CAD Swift video. In this episode we're going to be demonstrating one of the new features for infinite openings, which is our second operable element. So currently we have a whole series of operable elements that you can place within this element. However, some of our clients in Finland and Sweden have basically asked for an internal operable element to be in conjunction with the external. It's colder climates up there require this sort of configuration. So we set this up and we're going to demonstrate it now. So I just place the wall here, simple wall. I'm going to go into the window tool. I'm going to set up just a standard configuration, one element here, so I only need the one panel. Yep, those heights will suffice. Let's go first to our initial operable element. You'll see now there's an operable element second page here. It's a repetition of the same page. Let's just start with this first one and place a typical casement window. So what we're going to do is we're going to do an external casement and an internal casement. So let's do our casement, the double casement. We're going to have this opening outwards and we're going to have it on the external face. Single acting, 3D symbol standard, 2D symbol on, and let's just place this element. Okay, and there we have our typical casement. Have a look at it in 3D. Okay, so let's go back into the element now. Now we want to place our second internal element. So we go to operable element second, and now I'm going to set this as a casement as well. Let's go to our double casement here, and for this one we will, yes, have it set to inward and the internal position and standard. Okay, now let's go have a look in 2D and 3D. You can sort of see something's appeared there in 3D, it's not very clear at the moment, so let's have a look in 2D. So there you can see the element in 2D. You can also see that the styles of the panels, thickness of the panels are completely independent from the previous element. Let's have a look in 3D. Let's cut this so we can see into it. So there you can see there are two separate elements. I'm just going to create, set this up as a glazing panel as well on the inside because it's typically not going to be solid. However it might be, you can put solid elements in there, you can put louvers in there, you could put this on the external skin so you could have louver shutters externally or internally. For now I'm just going to go into the settings of here so you can see operable panel second. We have the opening panel and the opening panel second. I'm just going to set this to a single window. Actually we might use, let's see if we've got any saved. That's the Abloy system, we don't want that for this one. Standard, and we'll use our framed glass element for that too. We can actually make these identical internal and external. If I went to the opening panel for the internal aspect, I can come into its catalog and also apply that framed glass, and now we have exactly the same sash sizes and everything, glass positioning for that element. Same with the glass, we could set our glass element to be identical. So let's have a look at that in 3D now. Okay, so you can see we've got two identical elements there. Let's just open this up. Okay, so you can see how that works. Now we can actually get a little bit more intelligent with this by putting in a subframe element so we can get some sort of division between these two where you get more of a weather seal sort of effect. So if we go back into the settings and we'll go to our opening subframe, you can navigate to these pages from the main page. Often it's easier to do it that way. So if we are in, that's the design menu, if we're in our openings menu, we can go see the subframe here, see that nothing's set. We've got some standards there that we could apply, but I'm just going to do a custom one for now. We can go to the subframe and we can turn on these components. Now you'll notice while I'm turning on these components that we've got a recess and we've got a second operable element. So we can recess both these elements into this subframe by different distances so they can have slightly different positions and sizing. Let's have a look at what that gives us. Okay, we've just got a very simple rectangular extrusion for that element. I'm going to go to the 2D and I'm going to make that a little bit more fancy. So I'm going to probably have to turn off some default somewhere. Yes, turn off the defaults. And now I can start manipulating this element. So now, if I close these elements in 2D, so you can see exactly how they position. Okay, you can see when we set it to 0 with the casement, we get this 2D symbol as well that shows that it is a casement, but it's showing the detailed sash closed. We can actually turn that element off if you like. 2D symbol off. Okay, so now you can see how these elements are sitting. So they're sitting on the edge of the outermost point of this element. So what we need to do is we need to shuffle these elements in there, and we do that using those recess values. So we just go back into the object, going back to our subframe, our opening subframe, which is here. Graphisoft Community. Great community now. Graphisoft Community, it's the ArchiCAD Talk forum, but it's in a far better format. It's a fantastic place to be. Okay, so now we want to set this. So the first one, we're talking hinge and open size, and also the head and the base, because we have turned on all these elements. We could turn the base off if we don't want the base element on, and so on. We can turn each component off. So let's see, the main one I think was probably going to be, it was at 40 and 50, so we've got 10. And the other element went all the way back to 20, so we need 30. And we click OK, and now you can see those elements are sitting perfectly snug within that frame. So there's quite a lot that you can customize in this element. In fact, if you have a look at, if we go over to the other side here, what you'll notice is that this frame profile is completely independent on this other side, and it's also independent on the top and on the bottom. So you can actually have separate frame profiles for this subframe element, and then obviously you would need to go in and adjust these differently. So really all I've done is the hinge side frame. So these values are only relevant to those hinge side frames. They're not relevant to the other side. If we go over to the other side, you see this one probably should just be sitting at that element there, which is 20. So it should be at 0, and this should be at 20. So let's just have a look at that. Most often you're going to have the exact same profile on either side. However, we allow for any situation in this tool. So let's go to the open side, and we'll set this to 0 and this to 20. It's kind of a little bit misleading open and hinge side when you've got a double casement, so you have to kind of imagine it as a single casement to get that logic. And the head and the base were probably the same as that side because we hadn't altered them yet. So in reality, it should probably look more like this until we adjust those other frame profiles. Okay, and now you can see it's sitting perfectly snug for that element too. Have a look at that in 3D. Wonderful. And there you go. So that is our new, what we're calling our operable element second. Hope you enjoyed that video. Hope you look forward to using this feature if you are in those colder climates, Scandinavia, basically Northern Europe, Iceland, Canada perhaps. And I hope this provides a lot of benefit to your documentation and modeling. Thanks for watching.